And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Welcome to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of FrontierLoanGroup.com and MichaelGaddis.com. As always, I am here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. to talk about anything and everything related to real estate. And when I mean anything, I mean it can be anything. We had a really great show last week talking to the president and CEO of FirstCabin.com. We talked about traveling to Southeast Asia and some of the specials that he has. That man has been to 172 countries. That's remarkable. Think about that, 172 countries. I mean, he is just a wealth of knowledge. You know, off the radio we were talking about, you know, just his travels all over the place, and he's a fascinating individual. So if any of you are thinking about traveling, make sure you look up FirstCabin.com, because I'm telling you, if nothing else, just call him and just talk up to him about whatever country you want to travel to, and you'd be amazed by the amount of information that he has. This past weekend, I went to the San Diego Union Tribune Successful Aging Expo. They had this giant Successful Aging Expo down at the Town and Country Resort and Convention Center in San Diego. It was a really big event. It was really well put together, and it was very informative for all those who showed up. And I'll tell you, there was probably, I mean, I didn't have a little counter or anything, but I would say there was probably a minimum of 6,000 people there, and I would say probably more likely in the lines of 8,000. And I'll tell you something, you know, I had a big booth set up there, and I was talking to people about, reverse mortgages, and also, about this radio station, my radio show. I had a continuing stream of people coming up and talk to me. They were either interested in how reverse mortgages work. They were, talking about, what the pros and cons were, or even some of them came up to challenge me and say, well, they had heard that reverse mortgages were not a good thing. And one in particular came to challenge me. She was a 92-year-old woman. She came up to me and she says, everyone tells me that these reverse mortgages are not good. She goes, can you tell me why you think they're good? So I went into it and I told her the story about the 80-year-old woman who lives in Oceanside, who has an $1,100 a month mortgage, not including taxes and insurance. And she has only $1,800 a month in income coming in from Social Security and a small pension. And I told her that this woman only had $2,500 left in her bank account, and that this woman was using $900 of her month out of her savings to help pay for her living expenses. Because if you subtract $1,800 of income from $1,100 for a mortgage payment, not including taxes and insurance, that means she only has, $700 a month to pay for gas, utilities, food, credit card payments, car payments, taxes, insurance. I mean, that's not a lot of money. And so basically what it was costing her is $900 a month out of her savings, and she was about 3 months away from hitting ground zero. So when she came to me, we were able to eliminate her mortgage payment, and then even give her a home equity line of $25,000, basically a line of credit that grows. So what I told her, this woman, is I said, hey, look, if you get this line of credit, don't use it. Don't tap into it unless it's an emergency. Let it grow, because it grows at a pretty high interest rate. So every year it grows is more money that you have access to. So it's much better than her $2,500 that's sitting in her savings account that's not earning anything. I said, it's better for you to have it over here so that you could tap into it when you need it. So when I told the 92-year-old woman that story, her eyes lit up, and she goes, no one has ever explained it to me like that. She goes, no one has ever actually sat there and told me why, a reverse, or how a reverse mortgage can help. All people say is, oh, it's not a good thing, or you shouldn't do it. No one gives real life examples about how these types of loans can change the quality of someone's life. And everybody could sit there and point fingers at people and say, well, she should have planned better, she should have done this. You know what? The bottom line is she has the equity in her house to help her live a better life, and that is what she did. And we have been trained since we're little kids to say, oh, you should never do that. You should never, ever, ever do that. But you know what? Let me tell you something. You only live once. And when you retire, you're on a fixed income. Do you work hard your whole life so that you could live like that poor lady up in Oceanside? Is that how you want to retire? Where you're stressed out every single month as you watch your savings account go down, but yet you have a ton of equity in the house, but you're living stressed out? You're living every single month worried about if you can pay your utilities or if you're going to be able to go to church because you don't have enough gas. You can't go to movies because they cost too much money. I mean, is that how you want to live your golden years? Those aren't golden. Those are tarnished brass. So, in this situation, this 80-year-old woman is able to change her life, her quality of life. And that is what is important about reverse mortgages. They are very subjective. I told a 92-year-old woman, I said, they're very, very subjective. Okay? What's right for one person might not be right for another. And because these programs, this FHA program, is so flexible, there are so many different ways you can use it that, it is very personal to each person. So you don't have to necessarily be in the same financial position as the 80-year-old woman in Oceanside to find benefit in it. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've been getting reverse mortgages for. Some of them are financial planners, some are CPAs. These are smart people. They see the benefit and what they can do with it, and they're buying into it. And, it's not like they're, not very well informed about finances or economics. They know exactly what they're doing. So they found a benefit in it, usually through the line of credit or the elimination of the mortgage payment, and, they're moving with it. So I think it's really important that, they say that there's over 10,000 people age 62, turning age 62 every single day in the United States. Over 10,000. That's a lot of people who are going to, who are entering into the twilight of, their work, and they're getting on the verge of retiring. And a lot of those people don't have the retirement plans that they thought they did. So I think especially in California, where we've had a lot of, a lot of people have equity because the, the value increases. It's a great resource for people to tap into. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I'm your host, Michael Gaddis of FrontierLoanGroup.com. I'm talking about my attendance at the San Diego Union Tribune Successful Aging Expo. The other thing I noticed is that at the Successful Aging Expo, as I talked to the numerous people, and I talked to a lot of people, and I was actually interviewed by Drew Schlossberg of the San Diego Union Tribune on his radio show, which is on WSRadio.com, and he asked me a lot of good questions too. But one thing I picked up over there is that it's funny because some companies do not call reverse mortgages. They call them by their official name, home equity conversion mortgages. And you know what? People respond to that because they don't realize that that's the same thing basically. It's the FHA's answer to the reverse mortgage is basically what it is. A home equity conversion mortgage is basically an FHA product for a reverse mortgage. It's safe, it's protected, it has a lot of good features in it. And my favorite feature is the line of credit growth. And what's great about it, because it's insured, if you get a HELOC on your house and you take money out, one, you got to pay it back. Two, if there's a housing crisis, if your house dips, your credit line can either be frozen or suspended or reduced. In a reverse mortgage, your line of credit is guaranteed not to be frozen. It's guaranteed to grow by the amount of your interest rate plus your monthly mortgage insurance premium. So, or your yearly mortgage insurance premium. So, we're looking at a growth rate of around 5% or so in growing every single year, versus a HELOC that does not grow and that has its restrictions. Well, I had a great time at the Successful Aging Expo, and I just wanted to tell everybody that. And as I said, I'm a big believer in the benefits of reverse mortgages, also called home equity conversion mortgages. Well, after the break, we're going to go up and talk about the real estate market, because everyone keeps talking about how hot it is, but I'm going to break it down and show you exactly why it's hot. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer.